Hello and welcome to my channel. This is another card in my Halloween 2017 card series. This card design is special in I didn't make this card design, my husband did. And I have step-by-step instructions to show you how you can create this card. Now let me hold it up so that you could see that the little ghost on the front, who is very sparkly, I don't know if that shows up very well on camera, and it doesn't, I'm so sorry, but it's really sparkly. He has little eyes that poke through cutout holes, and when you open the card, here we go, you see that the little eyes are really on the inside pumpkin, little googly eyes. And there's a little band-aid to cover the little boo-boo that the hole in the card makes. I thought this card was adorable, and I want to show you how to make it. It's a little bit of setup to get it everything lined up the way you want, but the effort that you put in it are really pay off, because this is a really cute and unique card, and I'm sure that you will be happy that you tried it. It really is simple once you go step by step. So let me go through the materials that this card needs to make it. Okay. The papers that I'm going to be using today is a card base cut 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I also need a white panel cut 5 by 3 3/4, a white panel which is cut 5 1/4 by 4, a black panel also 5 1/4 by 4. I'll need a white strip 1 inch by 4 1/4, a kraft strip which is about 1.5 by 4 1/4. This is scrap. It doesn't matter what you use as long as you have at least 3 inches of length here. And some white scrap. Also the dimensions for this doesn't matter because I just need to get that ghost out of there. I'm going to be using a Stampin' Up! Triple Banner punch. This punch will allow you to cut banners in 3 different sizes, and you can actually, I don't know if you can see it here, there's little indentation, which will allow you to get a fourth size if you line it up between these two marks here. I'm going to be using these inks today: Versafine Onyx Black, Hero Art Shadow Ink, Soft Granite, Wilted Violet Distress Ink, and Shabby Shutters Distress Ink. Because I'm going to be doing a little bit of distressing to get this color here, I'll be needing a blender tool, and I have my sponges, and I'm going to be using a small bit of Halloween ribbon. You'll need at least 6 inches, and I'll be using googly eyes. I got this pack of googly eyes from Amazon. It costs just a couple of dollars, and this is probably enough googly eyes to last me a good little bit of time, but we'll see how it goes. I'm also going to need a 1/4 inch hole punch, and I'm also going to be using a stamp pad, a cutting pad, sorry, from Stampin' Up. This is the Stampin' Up! Matte Pack. It has the several pieces in it. Let me show you that real quickly. It has the cutting mat, it has the piercing mat, and it has a poking tool, grid, so you can make evenly spaced dots and lines across your work. But any cutting mat would do. This is in fact a cutting mat, but I just wanted to show you this one. I'm going to be doing very minimal watercoloring. So I have gray, green, and 2 shades of orange watercolor pencils. Move that on the side. I have some stamps that I got from the dollar bin for the decorate the outside of the card. You will need a small tape runner. It's a lot easier than if you have the larger one. And these are the stamps I'm going to be using. I have Fall Holidays by Stamp Abilities. This stamp set has things for fall, Thanksgiving, and Halloween. It's got a little turkey and a pilgrim's hat and some pumpkins. And also this nice sentiment, give thanks. I have Owl-oween by Hero Arts for the ghost. I have My Favorite Things Band-Aids die cut set. This is a really cute set. I think I got this for free when I made another purchase at Hero Arts. And I'm going to be needing some Tombow liquid glue, but you can use any adhesive you had, fast drying. And I think that's all I need. If I forgot anything else, I'll bring it in and show you. But let me clear these things away and show you how to create this card. Before I get started, I want to take a minute to talk about how I clean my stamps. I'm sure you've seen me reaching for this little rag here. This is a microfiber cleaning rag that I got 3 in a pack for $1 at the dollar store. And this is a homemade stamp cleaner that I made. You just need about a half a cap full of baby shampoo or baby wash, a couple of squirts of glycerin, and fill your container with warm water. Give it a good shake and you're off to go. This is very inexpensive to make. I have only just recently bought a refill for the baby shampoo, and I have been doing stamping with that liquid bottle, I think about 3 years. So it lasts 3 years, and when you look at the cost of going and buying commercial stamp cleaner, it is a huge savings. So I just pre-soak my rag and get it ready to go and have it sitting just off camera, and I'm ready to clean the stamps. So that's all this reaching over to the side business that's going on out of your view. That's me cleaning my stamps. The other thing I want to talk about really quickly is, since I'm going to be doing some ink blending, I wanted to go over again how I store my ink blending sponges. I created this notebook, and I have a link on my channel showing you about this notebook and how I went about doing it. But I just keep all of my blending sponges in the notebook ready to go, so whatever color I need, I can just flip to it and just pull it out, and when I'm finished with it, just pull it off and stick it back where it belongs. This was a real time saver, and being organized like this really helps a lot. I have a separate section in the back for my Distress Oxide inks because I don't want to use the same blending tools for that. And for example, I already have the Shabby shutters, and I need the Wilted Violet, so I just pull it out and here I go, ready to go. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let me go through the steps for making the card. Okay, let's do it. The first thing I'm going to do is stamp the ghost, and I'm also going to stamp a copy of the pumpkin, and it'll make sense in a minute. So I don't have to use my Misty tool for this, let me say that first of all, but I just got in the habit of using it. So I have my 2 stamps already on my Misty tool, and I'm going to ink them up with the black. And stamp this onto the white scrap. Okay, make sure you get a good solid impression, and I think I'm going to go over that ghost a second time because I want to make really sure that it's nice and dark. I'm not worried about the pumpkin. There we go, I like that. Okay, I'm cleaning my stamp off real quick. I tend to clean my stamps a little more often than I need to, and that's because I've gotten in the habit to do that so that I don't inadvertently forget about it and then I make a mess on something on my fingers and make a huge mess as I'm going. So the first thing I need to do is cut out the ghost. Pull up my little scissors, and I'm not going to make you watch me cut this out, so I'll cut this part out. But you just want to give yourself a little bit of white around the ghost. Okay, now I have the ghost. Now this is probably going to be the trickiest part of it, is to line these eyes up. So if you see the one eye is a little bit higher than the other, so when you punch, you have to allow for that. So the left eye, I'm going to punch it a little bit high, and the right eye, I'm going to punch it a little bit low, being sure that I don't punch too close together, and that I also get all of this black circle when I punch. Or as much of it as I can. Okay, Now the reason that I had this is that I can look right now and see that I have the eyes in the center, and I do. It's better to know it now before you get too far in the process. So if you needed to, you could make this again. Okay? So there we go. The eyes are in the center. So we don't need this anymore. Now set that aside. Now it's time to make a background. And I have spider webs all over that. So I'm taking the 5 by 3 3/4 piece, and I'm going to get a piece of paper to protect my work surface, and I'm bringing in the sorry, not that one, the gray, the soft granite, and I have already put the spider web on a stamp pad, a stamp block, so I'm going to use my stamp mat to give a little bit extra pushing and just go all over it. If you wanted to, you could make this background into a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and then cut it up and make multiple cards. It's actually more efficient to make a larger sheet than a smaller sheet, but for this purposes, I'm just going to use the smaller one. So just, you know, put them wherever you think you like them to be. There's no right or wrong way with this. Okay? Now, put that aside, reaching out as I showed you, clean my stamp. And I don't need the mat, but I do need the paper. Now I'm going to bring in the Wilted Violet and my blender tool and put some color to this. And you just have a very light touch and you start off the paper and bring it in. Because if you were to do it on the paper, this is what you would end up putting on your work, and that's not what you want. And it's a very light touch. You're barely holding the tool so that it doesn't fall, but don't press too hard. And if you accidentally make a couple of streaks, don't worry, just keep blending and it will just blend right out just fine. And it's good enough, I think. So that's that. I'm finished with this. Oops, making a mess. Okay, get this out of the way. All right. Now you want to take the ghost. Come here, fella. He's gotten out of. Oh, come on! I can't pick him up with these nails. Where's mine? There we go. Now you put him where you want him to be, and remember you're going to have to allow for the banner at the bottom, and you kind of want it to be kind of centered. So I'm using my grid mat paper, my grid mat, and I'm just eyeballing about where I want him to go, and I think that's a good place. And once you have that, you carefully take a pencil and you make a circle where the eyes are. Lightly. Okay? Can you see that? Oh, come on. There you go. See it? Now, the tricky and fun part. You bring in your cutting mat and you get your craft knife and you're going to cut out a rectangle slightly larger than the area of the circles. And to make sure that I don't go awry, I'm going to take a pencil and just lightly outline some lines so I know I'll be kind of straight with my shaky hands. So you just want it to be just bigger than where the circle area is. And you just cut it out. I should tell you that my craft knife is horrible. I'm going to buy myself another one because this one, the blade wiggles as soon as you put pressure on it. I really dislike it. It's not safe at all. Jennifer McGuire has posted a link on her channels with a really nice craft knife set, and I keep telling myself I'm going to get it, but I haven't done it yet. So there we are. Just poke it out. Now hold that over there to make sure that nothing shows, and there you are. First step done. Okay? Now the fun and interesting part continues. You take your, this is going to help you line up all of the holes through all of the layers. So you take your panel and you put it right where it needs to be centered. And it's important that you get it straight, because if you mess up, you'll have to start all over again. So that it's not hard, but you have to be meticulous as you do this. And lining up things straight is not my strong point, so bear with me. So now that you have it in place, hold it and outline again carefully, not to put pencil on your work, a rectangle. And I don't know if this will show up. Oh yes, it does show up. Thank you, Shadow. You finally did something good for me. Now bring the mat in again, and they're going to cut a larger rectangle around this, but centered. So again, I'm going to use my pencil and just mark it. You don't need to be too accurate, but don't be wildly off. Okay? Now I'm going to cut that part out. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, pretty good. All right, now double check that. There we go. Okay. Now you want to do the same thing with the cardstock. So I'm gonna have to get my bone folder, press a good seam. And the same thing again, centered. But of course, this one you have to open it out because you don't want to cut to the back of the card. Is that right? Yes. Help me out, people. Is that looking right? There we go. Again, pencil. I don't think you can see that. Yeah, there we go. Same thing again. This one, you need to cut out what you see, not wider than that, because this will show on the inside of the card. Whoops. Okay. I do not like this craft knife. There we go. Now double check all the layers and make sure that everything lines up. Center that. Center that, and bring in your ghost and make sure that you see all the way through. And you do. See? Now that looked hard, but it was really simple. Now set this aside temporarily, and we're going to line up the inside piece. So again, put it right where it needs to be, centered, carefully. Okay, now carefully close the card. All right, now bring in the ghost, and you put him about where he needs to be. There he is. And you carefully put very small dot right in the center of his little eye. Okay? You can't see that, but it's there. Now, set this all aside. This is trash. Now we bring the Misty tool back in. And we're going to use the Misty tool to line this up. You, of course, don't have to do this, but it's make sure for me that I don't make a mistake. So I'm finished with Mr. Owl. Set him somewhere temporarily so I don't lose him. And you take the pumpkin and you line it up so that the dots that you just poked, the little dots are right poking through the center of his eyes. Now I seriously doubt you can see this, but trust me, there's a dot and a dot. Now I want to hold this so it doesn't move. There we go. Transfer it to the door. And now we're going to punch Mr. Pumpkin. Stamp Mr. Pumpkin. Punch, stamp, stamp, punch. I keep getting those two words mixed. And I might need to stamp this twice because I want to make sure that I get a good black. Yeah, I want that stamped twice. Okay. Now, this is still a little wet, so I'm going to run my heat tool over it just to dry it. Clean my stamp. Now take the ghost and hold it over there and make sure that the eyes come through. And they do. I hope you can see that. Okay? So now I know that this is going to line up. So I'm going to finish stamping the inside. So let's see, what was on the inside? Oh yes, happy haunting. Usually I would fast forward through all this part, but I want to be sure that you see all of the steps as I do it. Okay. Now I'm going to do a little coloring on the pumpkin. So, my little pencil's got away from me. Here we go. The pumpkin, I'm going to lay the lighter orange all the way around the pumpkin, and then come in from the edges and highlight the darker marks with the darker orange to give it some depth. Now I need to make the band-aid for the inside of the card. So I'm going to use the smaller band-aid here. What do I need, the larger one? Let me look again. Was it the larger or the smaller? It's the larger one. Sorry. So cut the larger band-aid out of the craft paper and some white scrap for the bandage area. Be right back. Okay, now I have the piece for the bandage. So I'll set that aside. And wait, I don't want to lose these little things. It's nothing more frustrating than spending an hour looking for a die that you've misplaced because they're really small. So it's good to put them back when you finish with it. So now I want to transfer the holes from the ghost to the bandage. So I want the bandage to go a little bit diagonal because I think that looks better. So carefully put it in place, close the card, and take the ghost again and put him in place. Carefully trace the circles where you're going to punch your holes. One, and that's two. Now you're going to have to check it and make sure you got it right. I can do it this way. And if you got it wrong, you're going to have to make the bandage again, unfortunately. But this is close enough. So now I want to transfer those holes to the white bandage now. My hole punch isn't able to punch two pieces of cardstock at once, so if yours can, then you could probably be just fine adhering that, but mine can't, so. That's one. That's two. Oh, okay, this way. All right. Now glue this down. Don't want to have too much glue because then it'll come poking out the holes and it'll make a big mess. I don't want that. So just a little. And I'm using glue for this to give me time to adjust it around a little bit. Because if I use tape, once I put it, it would be in place. Okay, a little bit more there. Okay, now it's time to put the ghost in place permanently. So a little bit of tape. Okay. And the eyes, the eyes of the ghost have to line up with the eyes of the pumpkin, or all of this will have been for nothing. There we go. Okay, now we want to put the bandit on the inside and line that up with the eyes, like that. we go. Now I want to take and put 2 small dots here. So for the googly eyes, so first let's see which one we need. I need tweezers for this. I think it's this one. Yep, that one. That's 1, that's 2. Careful, put a small drop on the center of the eye. There. You have to work a little bit quick here because you want to be able to adjust it if you need to, and you don't want the glue to quickly solidify and then the thing won't move. So put the eyes down. Close the card, and the eye should pop right through. Adjust them as you need to, and press it so that the eyes are permanently in place. And there you go. See, that was not hard. Just took a couple of steps, and there you have your little peekaboo ghost. Now, I didn't mention it before, but I just let the video run while I did that card assembly. But if you get any hang-ups as you're going through the card, just leave me a comment and I'll see if I can help you with the different steps. But it was really very simple. And now the rest is just going to be making the banner, and off we go to the races. So I'm going to let the music run again.
Hello? Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there?
All right, that's the finished card. My husband's, as you can see, is a lot neater than mine because he is a lot more precise. He doesn't suffer from the shaky hands like I do, although I did a better job on straightening the ribbon. I also added a little gray contrast to the letters because I wanted to stick out a little bit. So this card, even though it looked really difficult, it was really not hard to do at all. You just need to follow the steps, and it's such a little cute surprise that people would be very glad to get a little crazy card like this. And Halloween is supposed to be fun in the end. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching my card series for Halloween this year, and also for all the other cards that I've been doing. I'd like to thank my brother for the music that he's provided for my cards and my videos, especially the Halloween series. The music has been really on point, and I've loved it. Please leave me a comment what you think about this card. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm really trying to get my numbers up, and I really am very thankful for all the help and support everyone is giving me. Take care, everyone, and have a happy Halloween.